Hi there, it's Doug from Junior Service Center here in London. Just read this morning on CTV News that another tractor trailer lost its wheels on the Highway 400. It's about two and a half hours from here. There's been a rash lately in the 400 highway series, but it happens more often than not. And it actually happens to cars quite a bit as well. What can happen is the truck was just serviced. It's actually not much different than in a car. What I think is happening with those tires and wheel combinations coming apart on these tractor trailers is the same thing that happened to a car. This is a rotor off of a car. This would be the mating surface, where this wheel gets bolted up. And if you look here, you see this crud. That stuff there, it builds up. It's a rust and corrosion, okay? And it actually becomes quite thick. I've actually seen it up to 1/8 of an inch thick on very old cars. And that surface is porous. And if you come back over to the rotor, if you can see here, this is really rusty. It actually has a bit of a ridge on it, and you can actually see where the wheel was on this car. And over here, I buffed it off, and you actually feel the difference between the two. Now, what happens when you're driving down the road if you don't clean these surfaces is that rust is porous. Put the wheel back on, the mating surface is not the same, so it will actually rub this stuff off, but it will do it at a slow rate. And eventually your wheel just comes off. Your lug nuts become loose because there's air gap there. Next thing you know, you're losing a wheel. Same thing with tractor trailers. A lot of guys will clean this hub. They'll clean the wheel on the mating surface, but they don't do it on the opposite side of the duals. Both sides of those duals have to be sanded down and cleaned so you see actual metal or a good proper painted surface. And I recommend people to repaint them before they put them back on. And actually, it's a mandatory rule here in my shop that every vehicle, after wheels have been removed, check the surfaces, go for a drive. You go for a drive, you bring it back, and you retorque the wheels. Reason being is you're gonna find one loose. You always do. Any car. All mechanics should be doing it. Even if you're changing your own tires, you should be doing it later after the fact. Hope that helps. Thanks.